Today's Legal Line features attorneys Mark Bryant, Teris Swanson of the Bryant law firm in Paducah, and they're discussing a pending litigation case, I guess you would call it, against the manufacturers of defective earplugs. And Mark, you've got some important information about this.
Yes, in fact, we are very involved in this litigation. It's international litigation, but it will be filed here in the United States. Just yesterday, the MDL, JPML out of Washington, D.C., which is a bunch of judges, made the decision that the cases will all be heard in Pensacola, Florida. And the Bryant Law Center is very attached to a law firm down there that proposed Pensacola, and so we will be spending a bunch of time in Pensacola representing our clients. But I have to tell you, a lot of people thought that this was just another lawsuit, but this is a very serious case where soldiers lost their hearing because of defective earplugs that were built by 3M. And this is one of those cases where the government is having to pay right now for a lot of people that lost their hearing, but rather than the taxpayers having to pay for it, I think it'd be a really good idea for 3M to do it because they've got almost as much money as the United States government has. So we're filing this litigation, and if you've got any friends that are in the military or were in the military between 2003 and 2015 and use these earplugs and have hearing problems, please ask them to call us. Emily Rourke and I were just in Washington a couple of weeks ago. Our whole firm will be spending time, except for the PI part of it. They'll stay here in Paducah, but the rest of us, including Teris, will end up spending a lot of time in Pensacola battling it out with 3M, but ultimately we believe we're going to win this case.
All right, if you have a question regarding this pending litigation, the number on your screen, 1-888-208-6946. Call in with your question, and we do have one already. Somebody says that I worked in a job that after serving might have impacted my hearing. Now, how can they prove that the hearing damage is from the military and not that job?
Well, that's not going to preclude you from any claim, probably. Of course, we have to get in, look at your records and stuff like that. The way we're going to probably be able to prove it after you came in from, any deployments, you probably had a hearing test. You would have that recorded on a form. I'm sure you're very familiar with if you served in the military, the DD-214 forms. When you exit the military altogether, they should give you some sort of hearing test. All those records are things that we can gather for you and see if you would, potentially be able to claim anything because of your hearing loss, regardless of what happened after you left the military.
Heather has called in and she said, my husband and I both have hearing loss after serving in the military. Would they both have a case?
Yes, you both do have a case, and you don't have to have been in combat. All you had to have done is wore those earplugs, and they're dual-sided. One is yellow, and the other side is olive drab. And if you wore those and you went to shooting practice, that is many times where all this happens. So yes, husbands and wives can both do the very same thing. So please call us, because we got a lot of people doing it. We went to Fort Campbell the other day and met with soldiers. We met with their wives. Wives can sign them up if the husbands are out in the military. A lot of Fort Campbell people were at Fort Polk, Louisiana at the time, but we've got wives that have power of attorney, and they're allowed to sign them up too. So please call us and let us know. We want to help.
Is there a statute on this where they have a certain limited time to make this claim or to get in on the lawsuit, Teris?
Yes, there is. It's really going to depend on what state you're from, and there's a lot of different factors that it would take me forever to go into today. But in Kentucky, generally, the statute of limitations for any personal injury claim is 1 year from the day you knew or should have known your injury and the cause of that injury. So it's really important that you get on it as soon as possible.
Okay, 1-888-208-6946 is the phone number. If you did not get a chance to get your phone call or question answered during this segment, they'll be back in our next half hour. They'll be answering more of your questions. So give us a call. They'll take your questions down, and we'll get those answered on the next edition of Live Line.